I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, ESPN's Tim Bontemps is reporting Victor Wembanyama's summer league has come to an end. The Spurs decided to shut down the top overall pick in the NBA draft following a stellar second game in Vegas. A former Northwestern football player who came forward with allegations of widespread hazing within the program spoke with University President Michael Schill yesterday about the hazing he witnessed and experienced. Told ESPN's Adam Rittenberg, Coach Pat Fitzgerald absolutely knew about the hazing. Fitzgerald, suspended on Friday for 2 weeks, has said he had no knowledge of it. ESPN radio host Harry Douglas.
There's nothing cool about it to me. Do not put your hands on me against my will. That's where the problem comes. And I just think we're in a situation now, whether it's college football, high school football, any level of sports period, I think the hazing just needs to stop.
Harry Douglas on ESPN Radio Afternoons. Schill is considering harsher punishment for Fitzgerald. The Yankees' new hitting coach is MLB Network analyst Sean Casey. Takes over for the fired Dylan Lawson. Yankees' .231 batting average, 28th in the majors, ahead of only Detroit and Oakland.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Locked, loaded. A ton to do today. The MLB Draft is rolling as we speak, so we will keep you up to date with all that. We know who is attending SEC Football Media Days, what players, I should say, are attending SEC Football Media Days. LSU's added a baseball commit. They've added an assistant baseball coach. We got a ton to do. Oh, and did I mention that Chad Ochocinco and I have a personal wager? Getting all that today. Glad you're with us. Let's start right here.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so on Sunday night, the MLB draft got underway. And leading up to the draft, Pittsburgh had apparently convinced, good on Pittsburgh, they had apparently convinced everybody that they were going to stay true to form and be what they are, which is notoriously cheap and an awful organization, and pass on Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz because they were looking to make a deal with either Max Clark, Wyatt Langford. So odds in Vegas, odds makers had all shifted toward Wyatt Langford being the number one pick. Everybody who puts out a mock draft had Wyatt Langford or Max Clark as the number one pick in the draft. And then Pittsburgh had the first pick. It was the kid, Griffey Jr., who got to step to the podium in Seattle to make the announcement. It sounded like this.
With the first pick of the 2023 MLB Draft, the Pittsburgh Pirates picked Paul Skeens, right-handed pitcher from LSU.
So congrats to Pittsburgh on not screwing it up. And by the way, also I would say congrats to Pittsburgh on kind of surprising everybody. They clearly leaked out info that they were looking at doing something different to save money, and because they have a history of being notoriously cheap, they were able to make everyone believe that they were going a different direction, and ultimately they pulled the trigger on Paul Skeens. And his teammate, however, Dylan Cruz, did not have to wait long, and with this, LSU made history.
With the number 2 pick in the 2023 MLB Draft, the Washington Nationals select Dylan Cruz, an outfielder from LSU.
So Cruz, Skeens, Cruz, in whatever order they were going to go, we were looking for history to be made, and it was made, with Paul Skeens going number 1 and Dylan Cruz going number 2. For the first time in draft history, teammates went 1-2. LSU, which had already had this distinction prior, but remains the only program in the country to produce the number one overall pick in the NFL, NBA, MLB, and WNBA drafts. So congrats to those guys with Skeens and Cruz. And for as much as we talked about the possibility of Pittsburgh trying to save money, which clearly they were, if you think of it in these terms, they actually saved about $280 million. I've had people within Major League Baseball tell me that Paul Skeens' value today would be $40 million a year if he were a free agent today. $40 million per is what Paul Skeens would command. If you're looking at a 6-year contract, 7-year contract, you'd be looking at $240, $280 million. So better to sign him for $9 million, $10 million on the front end instead of waiting to free agency and having the opportunity or never having the opportunity to sign a player of this caliber, because the Pirates would never pay a pitcher $250 million or any player $400 million, which Paul Skeens might command at some point in his career. So Cruz and Skeens, Skeens and Cruz, I should say. I need to correct myself now. It's habitual because we've always just assumed that Dylan was going to be 1-1 for the last 3 years. But Skeens, Cruz go 1-2. After that, the question kind of became, where would Ty Floyd land? And, I was following the draft throughout, and when and if you follow any of the mock drafts on Friday or throughout the weekend, and I'd gotten a call before the draft that said Ty Floyd is a virtual lock to be a first-round pick, and it could be as high as the mid-teens. And Baltimore was a place that made some sense, but ultimately they went Enrique Bradfield from Vanderbilt. They went the outfielder. The next spot that made sense was the Atlanta Braves at 24, and they went with Hurston Waldrop. Made sense also because a lot of people didn't assume Waldrop was going to be there at 24, so the Braves took a guy they felt was the best pitcher available. The next spot that would have made sense for Floyd was 28, the last pick of round 1 before they got into the sandwich picks, and that was the Houston Astros. And I got a call a few minutes before that pick was made saying the Astros, Floyd is their guy, but they're trying to get him off his number. They're trying to get him at a discount. And ultimately, the Astros made a choice and went with an infielder from Nebraska, who many the rankings had in the 50s or 60s, so it would have been around 2 or 3 guy, which tells me that Ty Floyd did what a lot of guys struggle to do, which is stay firm on their number. And so he ended up hearing his name called at 38 overall to the Cincinnati Reds, and that was I think, a fantastic illustration of how a guy can benefit from college baseball. Ty Floyd, COVID year, was not drafted, coming out of high school, comes to campus, pitches for LSU in that freshman season, late in that freshman season especially, he pitched well in the postseason, and then last year was all fastball, struggled to ever throw a breaking ball. Wes Johnson comes in this season, Floyd develops, and by the end of the year, he's striking out 17 in the College World Series game against Florida. And as they said so many times on the broadcast, if you were watching it last night, had a lot of helium, players that are rising in the draft, and ends up the 38th pick of the draft. So he goes in round 1 in the sandwich round, but in the competitive balance round. But he's a first-round pick, goes number 38 overall. He's going to sign for roughly $2.5 million, and that's a great illustration of what can happen in the draft. And with guys coming to school, as Jay Johnson took every opportunity to remind you if you were watching the MLB Network. On Sunday in round 1 was Grant Taylor. And now this is another interesting one because I tweeted this on Sunday just before the draft, and I got a call about an hour before the draft started. And Taylor is a guy who we've talked about a lot. And this was the big one that LSU fans kind of had to watch. Not just fans, but that LSU had to watch. Because Taylor, because we didn't get to see Grant Taylor at his best, and now we can't unknow what we know about Paul Skeens. What I'm about to say is going to sound very strange to you, okay? But in the fall, Grant Taylor was every bit as good as Paul Skeens was in the fall. Now, Skeens continued to develop. His velo got up to 102. He had the greatest season ever. We all know that. But in the fall, When Paul Skeens had just showed up from Air Force and Grant Taylor was ascending, Grant Taylor was throwing 98. He was throwing a slider at 93. He was incredible. He was striking out everybody. And I had scouts tell me he was a top 5, when healthy, a top 5 arm in this draft, which would have put him in the middle of round 1 in that $4 million range. And so the real question for Grant Taylor was, and this is why the baseball draft is so different than every other draft. In our minds, we all watch the NFL draft or the NBA draft, and you go where you're picked. The MLB draft is so different because you can draft underclassmen and you have leverage. Do you go back to school? Do you sign? Can you sign over slot, under slot? There's just a lot of different factors at play. And Taylor's a draft-eligible sophomore coming off of Tommy John. And ultimately, his decision came down to, do I come back to school, get healthy, and pitch, and next year try to be a higher draft pick, or do I take the bird in the hand? And the really tough part for Grant Taylor this year, as I understand it, is with his recovery, they're not sure when he would be ready next year, if at all. So it's really hard if you're Grant Taylor to know, all right, in a perfect world, I'm healthy at the start of the season and in the rotation, but is that realistic? Look how long it took Javen Coleman to ramp up throughout this year. If Grant Taylor followed that similar trajectory, where does that land him in the draft? Don't know. So, whereas in his mind and for his representatives, they knew before the season started he was a guy that probably could have commanded $4 million. As they were testing the market before the draft, it became clear his number was going to be somewhere in the low ones. And it was also made clear to me that Taylor was going to take that number if he got it. So it wasn't a surprise at all when the White Sox called his number at 51, and his slot value there is about $1.5 million. So for a guy that pitched 1 year of college ball, missed all of this year with Tommy John, to still get a 7-figure signing bonus is pretty incredible. Like, for the kid, you feel great because he had 2 great options, and he picked one. For LSU fans, it's kind of a bummer because you never got to see Grant Taylor at his best pitching for LSU. So that's the disappointing part. So 4 LSU Tigers drafted. Blake Mitchell, the catcher from Texas, went 8 overall to Kansas City, so he'll never step foot on campus. But we were also expecting to hear Cameron Johnson, the lefty from IMG Academy down in Florida, who sits 95, touched 98. We're expecting to hear his name called yesterday, and it wasn't. And I was told his number was around $3 million, and clearly nobody was willing to pay it. Will somebody pay it today? That's something we're going to watch as we move through the show here today, because as we sit at 3:12 Central Time, they're now into, are they into round 7? They're into round 7. His name still has not been called. That's not to say that there isn't a team that could sign him for over slot value. Happens all the time. But that's one that as teams roll and picks roll, that gets more and more interesting as the day goes along. Okay, it's After Further Review. Our open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Of course, continue to remind you about Bud Light. If you see those camouflage cans, make sure you pick them up, because with every purchase, a portion of the sale goes to Folds of Honor, great organization that funds scholarships for the children of our fallen military men and women. 13 years, they've raised more than $21 million for Folds of Honor. So drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light. Great partner of ours here on AFR. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, let me catch you up. So we kind of recap day 1 of the draft. Let me catch you up with what's happened today in the draft. And we'll keep just sort of updating you throughout the day as we get more information. So round 7 is underway. Again, yesterday was rounds 1 and 2 with sandwich or competitive balance A and B. And then today is rounds 3 through 10. One other thing I'll remind you. Let me do that. Let me do that when we come back, so I'll stay on time. We'll continue, kind of get you caught up on today's draft stuff when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Proud sponsor of SEC Football Media Days, our coverage all next week in Nashville. Hey, last week we started re-roofing in West Baton Rouge. Bruley, Addis. That hailstorm about 3 weeks ago, so many people, homes, businesses had roof damage because of that hailstorm. If your adjuster's already been to your house, maybe you've got your scope of work, maybe you've gotten a check from your insurance already, we're ready. We've got crews, we've got shingles, we got materials, we are ready to roll, and we can be on your roof within 2 days. As soon as we have all that finalized, give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. Terrio might even answer, honest to goodness. 225-364-1007 or HUDCOroofing.com. That's HUDCOroofing.com. Ignore the door knockers. Ignore the out-of-towners. Ignore the new roofing companies you never heard of. Do business with someone you know. That's us. That's HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Online, HUDCOroofing.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look.
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Can't quantify it. And we want to be about development for Major League Baseball. Well, you're seeing it here tonight.
That was Jay Johnson on MLB Network. We heard Jay Johnson was going to be part of the coverage for the MLB Network. I didn't realize he was going to be on the whole damn 4 hours. I wasn't part of the coverage. Like, Jay Johnson was a permanent fixture on the set for the duration of their coverage. That was incredible. And it made a lot of sense because Jay Johnson also either coached every player, coached against every player, or recruited every player that heard their name called yesterday. So you want to talk about the amount of exposure. I mean, that was a 4-hour recruiting pitch for LSU baseball, which is pretty incredible to see. What an opportunity. The other thing, too, randomly, and by the way, I fully do recognize that not everybody sits there and just locks themselves into the Major League Draft. I get it. Totally cool. But I'm a nerd, and I'm the one who's just sitting here watching the draft tracker all day long and am fascinated to see who, like Seth Halverson from Tennessee just got picked number 202 overall to the Rockies. How about the Rockies, right?
Are the Rockies about to be good?
The Rockies keep drafting pitchers.
And good ones.
Yes, but in that park, that's the whole thing. It's like in that park.
That's true.
Why are you drafting pitchers in that park?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. But I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes, they've done very well as far as the quality of arms. But in that park, the whole premise is always draft offense because it's just an offensive ballpark.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yes, I'm a nerd that watches the whole draft. But the point is, Jay Johnson did really well on the broadcast. One of the things that's very difficult with the MLB draft is because the picks come rapid fire. Like right now, it's a minute between picks, so it's just you're just going. I mean, you're about the teams are about 10 minutes ahead of the tracker, so they know they've already called the prospects. They've got 2 of them on the line. Are you going to take this? If not, they go to the next one, and someone's going to take the deal, and then they just submit the name. So it's boom, boom, boom. So when a player's announced and they go to the set and need a reaction, generally you've got like 10, 15 seconds to get in, get out, say something impactful. And Jay nailed it. It was almost uncomfortable how good he was at that. I'm like, hey, bro, don't get too good at this. Like, we need you to like simmer down and stay where you are. But he did a great job. By the way, Cody Worsham tweeted this out. Of course, LSU's chief brand officer. Here are the social media engagements. So it's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for day one of the draft. He listed the top 11. Number 2 through 11 are all major league clubs. Number 1 is LSU. LSU had 293,000 social media engagements. Well, let me say that another way. At LSU baseball. So LSU's baseball accounts had 293,000 social media engagements. The next highest was the Detroit Tigers at 131,000. Then the Nationals Pirates, who of course had the first 2 picks. Marlins, Reds, Rangers, Royals, Twins, A's, Rockies. The LSU baseball social media accounts had more engagement, actually twice as much engagement as the highest engaged social platforms of an MLB squad. The Detroit Tigers with 131,000. Stunning. What Jay Johnson is building right now is a massive machine around LSU baseball. The foundation was laid. Of course, LSU baseball is what it is, and we all know it. But what Jay is doing right now is absolutely incredible. And what a day to punctuate it, for him to be able to sit there and talk about the top 2 picks in the draft. And then after Skeens and Cruz get picked, then they go to a canned segment with Alex Bregman talking about the LSU guys. The whole thing was LSU baseball. It was wild. It was fun to watch if you're an LSU fan. Probably not so much. And then who was the kid from Mississippi State who got drafted? Who am I thinking? Oh, man. It was late in round 2. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, Ledbetter. Colton Ledbetter.
It was Colton Ledbetter.
Yeah.
So, and he was there.
Yes.
So he comes up on set, and he looks at Jay. He's like, Coach? Like, he didn't know that Jay was going to be there. And so they ask him, what's it like having this guy here? And Ledbetter was like, it's a little bittersweet. I mean, we did beat him in a series, but they won the national championship. It's like, yes, son, you won the national, or you just got drafted, but your moment is right now being overshadowed by the LSU coach who's sitting right next to you. It was phenomenal. It was what a day.
Hey, it has to happen to somebody. I mean, look, the Major League Baseball draft presented by Louisiana State University.
That's what it felt like.
It's what it felt like.
So day one came and went. If you're just joining us, thanks for being here. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. I need a door, by the way. Erica was hosing down outside yesterday, and we have like a back door that goes out toward the pool, and she hit the door with a hose to clean it off, and like water came into the house. I'm like, oh, God. Anyway, so we'll be calling Relief Windows soon to get a new door. So we spent last segment sort of recapping day one of the draft. Today, day two got started for LSU early with Trey Morgan going number 88 overall to Tampa Bay. So a couple of the tidbits that I'd heard today as we were getting started was expect Garrett Edwards to go pretty quickly, which he has not gone yet, which is surprising, but we'll come to that in a second. Morgan and Jordan Thompson were expected to go within the top 5 rounds as well. Morgan did. Jordan Thompson still waiting. More on that in a second as well. And then I was also told today, and I tweeted this out, keep an eye on the seniors with no leverage because a team looking to save money could draft them. And I literally had a scout tell me today, I'd call Gavin Dugas and offer him $5,000 and say, do you want to play pro ball, or do you want to go get a desk job? So Gavin Dugas went with the first pick of round 6. So first of all, congrats to Gavin Dugas. That's awesome. He's going to get to go start his pro career at the same spot that Dylan Cruz is. I have no idea if they'll start at the same level of ball, if they both go play rookie ball this year. But either way, a great opportunity for Gavin. I will be curious to see what his slot value is. I'll remind you, and I always use this just because it's something that someone said on the record, but when Kramer Robertson sat in our studio, sat right here to my left, and after his junior year, when he was taken in round 32, he was offered $250,000. Round 32, he was offered $250,000. Passed on it to come back for a senior year. Went in round 4. St. Louis took him in round 4, and he got $125,000. He got half the number in round 4 that he was offered the year before with leverage in round 32. So just for context, like when I say someone may have offered Gavin $5,000, that may not be an exaggeration. That may be what Washington offered him. It will take in round 6. You'll forever be a 6th round pick, and you could come take a shot at pro ball. So I don't know what the number is. We'll see what it is, but my guess is that was an opportunity for Washington to take a player who didn't have leverage, a real good glue guy, give him an opportunity at pro ball and save some money. So congrats to Gavin Dugas, who went with the first pick of round 6 to the Nationals. On Friday, when we were kind of previewing the draft, we gave you the names of 4 commits that we were watching. One, of course, was Blake Mitchell. Blake Mitchell went 8th overall to Kansas City. He's gone. Congrats to him. He'll never show up. The other that we were all assuming was going to be gone was Cameron Johnson. Cameron Johnson's a lefty from IMG Academy. 95, has touched 98 from the left side, and was not in any way thought to at all have the opportunity to ever play college baseball. Yet here we sit in round 7, and he still has not heard his name called. Now, that isn't a be-all, end-all. I'll remind you, a year ago, we were talking about this earlier with Hunt. Paul Gervais, a year ago, didn't go in the first 2 days and was like, he tweeted, coming back, LSU. And then the next day he deleted the tweet, got drafted, signed, it was gone. And I'm glad he did because we get to play Cyclone with the Brooklyn Cyclones, all the Tigers and the Pros. So weird things happen, teams move money. It's the thing that I probably should have started here because I understand not a lot of you understand this. The overwhelming majority of you don't. And that's okay. It's just because people don't lock into the MLB draft because it's confusing. Every team has a pool of funds, their bonus pool. It's the total amount of money they can spend on their signing bonuses for their draft picks. And every pick has a slot value. As a matter of fact, if you're looking at the draft tracker on MLB.com, Paul, you can pull this up if you want. You'll see the name, the school, and then on the far right column, it's the approximate pick value. That's the approximate slot value for every pick. Teams can sign for over, under, whatever the case may be. They have to make the money work within that total pool, right, of money. If a player, because like people were asking last night, hey, does that mean Grant Taylor is going to go? 100% yes. If a player has their name called, if a player is drafted within the first 10 rounds, 99.9% of them will sign because they've already agreed to the deal with the team. So generally, as I mentioned, it happens in about 10 minutes in advance where team is on the phone. They know their pick is coming, so they're calling saying, hey, will you take X amount? We're going to pick you here. And then if it's no, they move on to their next one. And so they have it ready to go whenever it's up. So every player that hears their name called in the first 10 rounds, they've already agreed to their deal. It's done. So if you hear a player's name called rounds 1 through 10, they're gone. So all of the players that are drafted are gone. The exception is Kumar Rocker goes in the top 10. The Mets don't like his medical, and so they don't finish the deal that they had agreed to. Right? Like that's That's the 1 out of a million. So the reason this is really relevant, and it's not to say you can't come back in day 3 and give somebody way over slot. It happens. I just told you Kramer Robertson was offered $250,000 in round 32. It happens. But the most interesting one here is Cameron Johnson, because I was told his number was $3 million. And right now, you're at a point in the draft. Tampa Bay is picking at 213 right now, and the approximate slot value is $240K. So we are far, far, far away from $3 million, which would have been top 20 picks, thereabouts. So Ty Floyd at 38, his slot was, I think, 225 or something like that. So understand, we are far away from the number Cameron Johnson wanted. Now, there is going to be a team that circles back to him, a team that has money, that's saved on some pit, like Washington just did. Washington no doubt had to pay Dylan Cruz a lot, but they came back and they drafted Gavin Dugas, and they're not going to pay him hardly anything. So could they come back and say, hey, kid, I know you wanted 3. Would you take 2? Would you take 1.8? And that's when every player has to make their decision. Do I stick to my number, or do I take the bird in hand? Our buddy Anthony Renato shared this story with us, and I'll do this quickly, but Renato told us a story about his draft day. And he had his number. He knew what he was willing to sign for in 2010. And he got a call, and it was in the middle of round 1, and they offered him a number, and it was less than slot. It was less than his number. And the intrigue was to say he was a first-round pick. And his dad told him, I'm repeating what Anthony told us. His dad told him, Anthony, we went over this with your agents. Like, we all decided you had your number, and this was your number, and they were going to get it for you. And so he passed on the deal the middle of round 1. He ended up going in the competitive balance round. I forget what number it was. Muse, can you look that up for me, please, real quick? Renato went to Boston, and he got over the number that he had wanted in his mind. He got his number, essentially, by waiting and signing later. So he stuck to his number and didn't go. Some guys will. What was it?
39th overall for $2.5 million.
And this was how long ago was this?
2010.
2010. 13 years ago. So he got over slot. Keep in mind, Ty Floyd just went 38, and his slot was 2.5. So point being, Renato got his number at 38. So my point with Cameron Johnson is someone could circle back and pay him, and they may, and he may take it. But I don't know anybody that's going to pay him $3 million at this point in the draft. Will he stick to his number, or will he come to school? Dylan Cruz stuck to his number. That's why he showed up at LSU. Alex Bregman said, if I'm not a first-round pick, don't take me because I'm not coming. He wasn't a first-round pick, came to LSU. So just file it away. The more these picks roll off and you don't see Cameron Johnson, the more of a possibility there is that a lefty throwing 98 shows up on campus, which would be incredible. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll go around the SEC. I got to tell you about an incredible Twitter interaction I had with a future Pro Football Hall of Famer on Friday, and I need your help with it as well. We'll do that next. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge. Right there on Bluebonnet, the Renaissance Hotel. They can host your event, and they always say, the Renaissance, we're in the business of saying yes. So you want to have your wedding reception right there in a beautiful location in the heart of Baton Rouge on Bluebonnet near I-10, conveniently located. It'd be great for all your guests as well to stay where the reception is. The Renaissance Hotel is a great option. Incredible. It's a 4-diamond hotel, beautiful guest suites, the most suites that they have of any hotel in Baton Rouge at the Renaissance. But on top of that, whatever event you're trying to host, if it's a wedding reception, maybe it's a fundraiser, awards banquets. Our Louisiana Association of Broadcasters awards banquet was at the Renaissance last year. I've been to fundraisers there for different charity events. It's a great place to have whatever size event you're looking to have. It's the Renaissance Hotel. Call Allison Crump over at the Renaissance. She'll help you out. Tell Matt sent you over to the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
So on Friday, we wrap up the show. I go home and I open Twitter, and I have a Twitter mention from Ocho Cinco, like the Ocho Cinco, formerly Chad Johnson, the wide receiver. 3 million followers on Twitter, Ocho Cinco. Paulie cut this clip from AFR last week and posted it on Twitter. Give a listen if you don't remember. The NFL.com Twitter account put up a graphic, and it said, predict the stats. Ocho Cinco quote tweets the NFL's tweet. Here's Ocho Cinco's predictions for Derek Carr. 38 touchdowns. Okay, so he says, like, he goes through all the predictions for Derek Carr. It's really bold. And then at the end, I say this. That yours truly is going to be hired alongside Patrick Mahomes and Troy Polamalu as a pitchman for Head and Shoulders. There you go. Okay, so I kind of made light of Ocho Cinco's prediction. We did a whole bit, Muso, you weren't here for it. Anyway, Ocho Cinco tweets at me and says, Matt, it's Ocho. I love this guy so much.
Like, yeah, I know. I know who you are.
I don't think he understands how much I actually love him to begin with. Because I'm the guy who's always like, make sports fun. Make interviews like professional wrestling. Give me personality. Don't give me boring, canned answers. I love him. The guy changed his name to brand himself. It's wonderful. Anyway, he said, Matt, it's Ocho. Let's make a friendly wager on my prediction. You must understand the skill set of his supporting cast. They will make his job easy. All Carr has to do is facilitate, and those exact numbers will come to fruition. By the way, he did have like Devontae Adams and Darren Waller, and, Josh Jacobs. They had some really good talent.
Pretty good.
They're pretty. Anyway, I replied, I'm game. What do you have in mind? I said, I'm happy to let you embarrass me in a race at LSU. Remember his daughter being recruited?
Yeah, 'cause he was at a game this past season.
Yeah.
I want to see you race Joseph Cinco. That'd be hilarious.
I would let him toast me. No worries. But anyway, so he says, he quote tweets me and says, I'm not good at this stuff, but if you think of something, I'll oblige at season's end. So I reply, bet, I'll ask my radio audience Monday, today. We'll come up with something. I'll hit you back. Have a great weekend. Then he replied with an expletive that was really good. Like he said, effing love you, man, with the little heart hand emoji. But he spelled it out. Like he actually typed out Anyway, so I love him. So I need your help. Like, sincerely, audience, I need your help. What should our wager be? Again, he said 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for Carr. So if Carr hits those numbers, what do I have to do? If Carr doesn't hit those numbers, what does Ocho have to do? Muse and I were talking about it. Paulie, I don't know if you have a thought. My feeling was, for me, it's easy. If he loses, he's got to fly his ass down here and do the show with me one day. Like right here. The whole 3 hours.
Absolutely.
Okay. Paulie, you got anything? And please let me know if you got suggestions. I'm dead serious.
That was something like, that's what I thought. Something here, something in studio. Definitely come here.
Okay. Ocho comes here. Thought about, and so here's the other thing too. Ocho has a cigar brand. It's called 85 Cigars. And if you follow him on social media, he promotes a lot. He's got a lot of distribution. It's like it's his brand that he's built. He's a big cigar guy. So I thought, what if we did like something at Don Juan? I thought about maybe having him sit with me and T-Bob for whiskey and wine.
Oh, well, I mean, he'd probably fit in, but we'd have to warn him about T-Bob.
No, he'd do great. He would
have
do
to
awesome.
warn him about T-Bob, though.
He'd be beauty. He would be awesome. But anyway, so I thought if I lose, what I'll do, he doesn't have to come here, but I'll go to the Don Juan folks and I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to do AFR at Don Juan, totally free remote, no charge, and I'll feature 85 Cigars for the whole show. We'll put their logos on the screen. We'll tag them and everything. We'll do promotional sales. We'll give them away to people. I'll buy them. Whatever I got to do, like something like that. Thoughts?
I like it a lot. The cigar thing's actually really cool too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, man, the whiskey and wine thing's good as well, though.
All right. Well, I need suggestions. So y'all tweet me at Matt Moscona. Let me know. Or text me. My text line, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Let me know. I am happy to, I'm willing to consider anything that you all have. As I said with the man on Friday, and I have no doubt that he's a man of his word and will live up to it. Unlike one jackass who still owes me $500, whose name will never be said on the show again.
So just for, make sure we got this down. Does it have to hit those exact numbers, or are we doing like a range here?
No.
Okay, so he's got to throw 38 touchdowns.
Yes.
6 interceptions.
If he goes under 38 touchdowns, over 6 interceptions, or under 4,700 yards passing, he loses.
Okay.
That's it. That's not close, near, but no.
All right.
Those are his target numbers. He's got to hit those targets. This ain't horseshoes and hand grenades, Cat Daddy. No way. I don't care who he is. I ain't letting him off the hook. I didn't approach him. He approached me.
That's true. That's very true.
He approached me. He said, bet me. All right. I'll bet you. Come on. All right, we're brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Check out, if you haven't done so yet, check out ShawBillsTire.com. There's a careers tab at the top. If you're thinking about a career instead of a job, Shaw Bills, locally owned for more than 50 years, since 1968, 55 years now. You want to feel like their family, not just for customers. When you're an employee, you're part of their family as well. They have incredible benefits where you can actually grow and advance in a career at Shawbills. Even if you have no experience, they will train you if you are entry level. ShawbillsTire.com. Hit the careers tab right at the top. You can see all of the current openings they have at all their different locations. If it's Morgan City, Zachary, Youngsville, LaPlace, Houma, Raceland, Baton Rouge, multiple locations, you'll see it all there. Port Allen, it's at ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. And, of course, if you need to buy tires, home of the Charlie's Price Match Guarantee and the Charlie's Dozen, it's ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. I am late. I didn't have tremendous amounts in around the SEC. Let me break. We'll wrap up the hour. I have some Big 12 Media Day stuff I want to get to, and I'll give you an abbreviated around the SEC with some of the high points. That's coming up next here on AFR as we wrap up hour number 1. Stay here.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. By the way, this is still available. If you go to GordonGives.com, by now you know Tigers won the national championship. Gordon bought 8,888 rally shots over at Rocco's. At the championship celebration, all the members of the G team were wearing those 8888 rally shot hats. Well, Gordon's giving them away. So go to GordonGives.com, and when you go to the website, right there, you'll see there's 3 tabs on the homepage at GordonGives.com. The 8888 rally hats, just tap it right there. That's how you can register. You'll see the picture of Gordon with all the G team. There's Trey Morgan and Cade Beloso and Gavin Dugas and Gavin Guidry, and you can sign up right there to get your hat. So as soon as the 8888 hats come in, you can get yours. Go to GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com. Of course, if you've been injured, you've been in an accident, been injured, it's not your fault, you need representation, go to GetGordon.com. That's GetGordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A man accused of raping a child in foster care is scheduled to go to trial for his alleged crimes tomorrow. For a decade, the case was ignored and fell on deaf ears. John Mack is facing 8 counts of child rape, sexual battery, and indecent behavior with a juvenile. At least 200 jurors are subpoenaed for court. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Chandler Leiva, Leiva, shout out. Send me a text. How about this one, Muse? Said, Matt, I've got a parlay on LSU women's basketball, LSU baseball, and LSU football all winning the Natty. $10 to win $10,000. My cash out option is at $543.58. What do I do?
Let it ride, Chandler.
I mean, I want to ask Ott when Jimmy's here, because Jimmy will legitimately know, okay, when is the right time to cash out. But my thought is, if LSU beats Florida State, they are going to be favored in every game until they get to Tuscaloosa in November. And if you roll into that game undefeated, that cash out option is going to be a lot higher than $548.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I would cash out.
Absolutely.
Or at least hedge.
Yeah.
So, but seriously, the guy who would know the most about how to do that, Chandler, is Jimmy Ott. And I'll ask Jimmy when he's with us here at the end of hour 3. That's a pretty incredible story right there. We had, by the way, I'm looking for your feedback. This is not a joke. Chad Johnson, a.k.a. Ocho Cinco, tweeted me. He wants to make a bet with me on Derek Carr's stats for the year. And I'm asking you all your opinion. What should we bet? Brad Newman said you should change your name to Matt Ocho Cinco.
I don't hate it.
Okay, I'm not changing my name. I'm not.
Oh, but he means legally?
It sounds like it.
Oh, no, that's dumb.
I mean, that's what Chad Johnson did to be able to get Ocho Cinco on his jersey.
That actually makes sense.
It's brilliant, too.
Oh, it was great.
Guy. Sean Comiskey said get him on Scone and Tea. We talked about whiskey and wine, maybe more. Anyway, send me your recommendations. I'm open to it. Tweet me at Matt Moscona or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Okay. Okay. Man, I got a lot I want to get to. Let's do an abbreviated around the SEC. Hit it, Muse.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
We're going to go quickly. Bama got a 3-star linebacker, Justin Okronkowo. Also a 4-star defensive back, Zabian Brown. And a 2026 interior offensive lineman, Zyke Helton.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn landed 4-star defensive lineman Malik Blockton. Also, wide receiver commit Bryce Kane has earned his 4th star per On 3.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
2 commits for Kirby. 4-star offensive tackle Nair Daniels and 4-star offensive tackle Marquez Easley. Their offensive line for 2024 is massive.
The Florida Gators.
Florida got a commit from 4-star offensive lineman Fletcher Westfall.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
1 football, 1 baseball. 3-star wide receiver David Washington has committed to the Wildcats. Baseball has added left-handed pitcher Dominic Neiman from Central Connecticut via the portal.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Zach Arnett landed JUCO commit Tyler Woodard for the 2024 class. Also, Colorado tight end Seydou Traore has committed to Mississippi State. Coach Prime, of course, is purging things over there in Boulder.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Kiffin landed 3-star edge Maurice Davis, and 4-star quarterback DeMond Williams has decommitted from Ole Miss for the 2024 class.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Baseball got a transfer. DH Tyler Causey is transferring from North Carolina to South Carolina. Also, baseball has landed righty Matt Duffy from Canisius.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Catcher Ryan Miller, catcher Peyton Ebbing, and third baseman Tanner Zellum have all entered the transfer portal, leaving Tennessee's program.
Texas A&M!
Told you last week about Chris Cortez, who entered the transfer portal. The right-handed pitcher thought to be an LSU target. He has pulled his name out of the portal. He'll stay in College Station.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And Vandy landing 2 commits. Running back Johan Cardenas
Close.
Not bad.
It's close.
And safety Dante Carter.
That's just not even a...
Yeah, nice.
Jeez.
All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. Official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and ULL Raging Cajuns. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Putting a button here on hour number 1. We're keeping our eye on the draft. They're into round 8. Cameron Johnson still has not been picked, the lefty out of IMG. This is stunning to see it unfold, and we're holding our breath with every pick that comes and goes. We'll keep you posted as they move through round 8. Okay, quick break. Sports Center coming back. SEC Football Media Days, 1 week from today. We know who's attending. We'll react to it coming up right after Sports Center.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. Tell you all the time about mold, and of course, it's a great time of year to tell you about that because it rains darn near every day, and when you have rain and heat and humidity, it's a perfect breeding ground for mold, and mold can be dangerous and hazardous to your family, to your employees, to your coworkers, to your tenants if you own an apartment building. Mold Zero can help affordably and more effectively than other remediation options. Go to the website, mold-0usa.com. They service all of South Louisiana. Mold-0usa.com. It's easy. They'll pull up in one of their Sprinter vans. They have the hoses attached. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll close all the doors. They'll let it dwell. It'll get in every nook and cranny because it's a fog. It'll kill everything, all the pathogens, all the harmful pathogens, mold, odor, bacteria. And as soon as it dissipates, you can go back in the home free and clear. It's Mold Zero. Learn more online, mold-0usa.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special. Grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up and down on my last dime. Call in Baton Rouge. I'm remembering what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The focus for Victor Wembanyama, now on his first NBA season. His summer league is over. The Spurs shutting down the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft after a second strong game in Vegas. The Trailblazers in no hurry to trade franchise cornerstone Damian Lillard. They're going to do what's best for the team, and if it takes months to do a deal, according to GM Joe Cronin.
Don't be reactive. Don't jump at things just to seemingly solve a problem. I think the teams that have ended up in the most positive situation post-trade have been the ones that have been really diligent and taken their time and not been impulsive. The teams that kept their urgency under control. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this.
Cronin also revealed he has not spoken with Lillard since the trade request was made. Dame does want to be sent to the Heat. MLB Network analyst Sean Casey, hired as the Yankees' new hitting coach. New York's got the 3rd worst batting average in all of baseball, 231. Big night in Seattle tonight, baseball's home run derby. Pete Alonso of the Mets, a plus 300 favorite to win per Caesars. Coverage 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN.
If you need solid hires fast, you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You soup. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU baseball added another transfer over the weekend. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. Keeping an eye on the draft here as well. We learned on Monday the full roster of participants for SEC football media days. And LSU, the one we all assumed LSU was going to send is leading the way. Jaden Daniels will be representing LSU, along with running back Josh Williams and defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo. So that'll be LSU's trio heading up to Nashville today, Monday, 1 week from today. SEC Football Media Days begins in Nashville. Of course, our coverage presented by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com, and also with Rev Business. I'm perfectly good with the 3 players at LSU sending. I have long maintained that every school should be required to bring their quarterback. And I understand in some instances there are quarterback battles, but there is a veteran or a presumptive favorite to win the job or something along those lines. Every school should have to bring their quarterback every year. So I'm glad that LSU is bringing Jaden Daniels. I don't know why you wouldn't want to bring him. Mekhi Wingo is an interesting choice, and he's deserving. He stepped up in a huge way last year and earned All-American honors. And then and Josh Williams was your most consistent running back a season ago. Great story, former walk-on now to have this opportunity. What I will say is it's a missed opportunity not bringing Mason Smith, because here's why. So often those media, we see it all the time, those media kickoff events are a great way to put your potential award winners in front of the entire media for the conference and a lot of national media as well. So if you're Mason Smith and you have a legitimate chance to win the Outland and a lot of those types of awards this year, it's your way to say, here he is, and to make an impression. So I have no problem with the guys they're bringing. It would be great, though, if a guy like Mason Smith were included. As I kind of look at it, Bama's bringing Kool-Aid McKinstry. Landon Jackson, the former LSU Tiger, is going to represent Arkansas along with KJ Jefferson, Raheem Sanders. Auburn not bringing anybody you would know. This was actually a fun thing we did last year where I ran through and just listed a bunch of names and asked Muse if he knew. Maybe we'll do that. Larry, have you looked at the list yet? You haven't looked at the full list yet?
No, I just knew LSU's. I didn't look at anybody else. I mean, I just heard you say like Kool-Aid McKinstry, and I would have known where he went to college anyway. But
so Jaden Daniels, don't go far, Muse.
Right.
Spencer Rattler, Will Rogers, Joe Milton. Those are the only quarterbacks going. That's a bummer. Okay, and KJ Jefferson, of course, is going as well. All right, Muse, give me some college football music. Or give me the game show music. Give me the game. Hit me with the game show music. All right, here we go, Muse. It's time. Like, this is off the cuff. Totally off. We did this a year ago. Did not prep Muse on this. I'm going to throw out a name. That's attending media days. These are well-known players. Yes, this in theory should be well-known players.
Should be the goal there. Yeah.
And I'm going to see if Muse can correctly name the school they attend. All right, let's give the wheel a spin here. Do not look at the screen. No cheating, okay?
Okay.
All right. Tonka Hemingway.
What?
Muse Tonka.
That's a real
person?
person?
That is Tonka, like the truck. Tonka Hemingway.
What the hell?
What school does Tonka Hemingway attend?
Tonka Hemingway sounds like a Missouri Tiger if I've ever heard one.
No, I'm sorry. He is a South Carolina Gamecock.
It kind of sounds like one of those two.
That's who he is. How about Jaden Crumedy?
Oh, man.
Oh, do you know this?
I know the name. Is that that's Mississippi State?
I got it. All right. There it is. Way to go. Oh, this one. All right, Muse. You're 1 for 2.
Okay.
Let me hit you with a little Octavius Oxendine. Octavius Oxendine.
Well, it's a crime that it's not Vanderbilt because boy, would that fit.
Yes, you are right. Touche.
Octavius Oxendine.
Yes.
Kentucky?
I got it!
Let's go!
You're just trying to pick what awful schools in football?
Pretty much, yeah.
Got it. We got like a 1 out of 10 shot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. You're 2 out of 3.
This is going
way
really
better.
well. Way better than last year.
Good. Okay. All right. Eli Cox.
Eli Cox. Eli Cox plays for Tennessee.
I fooled you, Muse. Went right back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
By the way, their third is J.J. Weaver. Have no clue about any of them.
Yeah, let's not bring Devin Leary.
Let's not bring Devin Leary.
Why not?
Thank you. That's my point. When you're looking at SEC Media Days, wouldn't Devin Leary be one of the most interesting stories in the league this year?
Absolutely.
Thrown for a bajillion yards as a starter at NC State, leaves to come to Kentucky. Wouldn't that be someone everybody would want to hear from? No, instead we're getting Eli Cox, Octavius Oxendine, which is actually pretty cool, and J.J. Weaver. Kick rocks, Mark Stoops, you loser. You want another one?
Yeah, give me another one.
All right. Let me scroll. Let me spin the wheel. How about Will Shepard? Will Shepard.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, see, that's a name. I've heard the name. Will Shepard. At Florida?
No. Oh, unfortunately, Muse, that batting average is slipping a bit right now. He's from Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Will Shepard from Vanderbilt. You want me to give? Are you 3-3 right now?
I am. We got to break the tie. Or am I 2-3?
Yeah, I think you're 2-3.
Okay.
I fooled you with the.
What was his name?
Eli Cox.
Eli Cox. Yeah.
Also, be great if he was at Vanderbilt.
That's true.
That'd be great. It'd be great work.
That would work.
Okay, one more.
All right.
How about Cameron Stutz? Cameron Stutz. Stutts. Cameron Stutz. Where does he play?
I have two here that I'm trying to decide between. I already did Missouri, and it wasn't right. I haven't gone to the well yet here, so I'm going to say Cameron Stutz is an Arkansas Razorback.
Oh, you were so close.
Oh.
He's an Auburn Tiger.
Yep.
All right. That is the wheel of S. But isn't it like... Isn't this the point, though? Like, give me... I wish the media got to vote on who we wanted to see attend this thing. In some respects, I do understand that coaches see it as a reward for their players. A lot of times they'll bring upperclassmen, but that's not the point of the event. It's SEC Media Days. It is, like, bring interesting people that can tell stories that people want to hear about. Like, Kentucky not bringing Devin Leary is atrocious. The fact that Auburn isn't bringing any one of its quarterbacks is awful. I would say the same thing about Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one. Any of the three. Bring one of the three.
Sanders would be really interesting. Jackson Dart would be like, why are you still here, Jackson?
Jackson Dart, yeah. Spencer Sanders, Walker Howard. Any of the three would be fascinating.
Is it really a reward for the players, though? Like, do the players like going to for 3 hours out of one day and then leaving?
Yes, they do, because they get to hop on a PJ.
Yeah.
They get to put on some clean
swag, yeah.
Clean drip, PJ. You get to eat a free meal at a steakhouse somewhere for a day. You know, it's a big deal for a day. And then you get to go put on for a whole bunch of cameras. And, like, you know, so on Friday we had Mason Smith and we played the interview. And I told Mason this afterwards because I thought he didn't know at the time who was going. And I said, I told him if it was him, I was like, man, there are guys that go to this, players, and they use it as a springboard into a media career because it's basically a job interview for a lot of those guys. The example I always give is TJ Moe. TJ Moe was a receiver from Missouri the very first year Missouri was in the SEC in 2012. And TJ Moe is the guy, he was like the Wes Welker type, if you know what I mean. He was a small white guy. And he went up there and he's like, man, people were asking him, how's this different from the Big 12? Because he was at the Big 12 Media Days the year before. And he's like, well, last year we were in, polos, and it was a day long. We're in suits, and we fly in, and it's 3 days, and whatever it was. He goes, man, the SEC, the weather's nicer, the girls are prettier, the toilet paper's softer. Like, he just crushed it. And that dude, as soon as his playing career ended, was doing afternoon radio in St. Louis. I mean, like a top 20, top 30 market. Like, he crushed it. You know what I mean? So it is a good opportunity for a lot of those guys. And then it never fails also that guys that go to SEC football media days end up on the preseason all-conference team because otherwise would you have ever heard of Jalen Mahoney? Where's he from?
South Carolina.
Vanderbilt. That's my point, though. We're all going to know Jalen Mahoney after next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who do I pick? Oh, Jalen Mahoney was here.
Jalen Mahoney. I interviewed him.
That's how it goes. All right. It's after further review. Quick break. When we come back, LSU did land a transfer pitcher over the weekend. We'll talk about him. Glad you're here. It's a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Don't you move.
AFR.
Love telling you about New Orleans flooring, and I always say buy where the pros buy. If you are a contractor, and if you flip properties, maybe you have rental properties, maybe you do remediation work. At New Orleans Flooring, they cut out the middleman. So they can save you as much as 50% on the same great flooring products that you buy anywhere else, but also they can get to you quicker. Because they keep the inventory in stock, it's going to make you more efficient. You can go to New Orleans Flooring today on Airline Highway in Prairieville. You go south on Airline, you're in Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, it's on the right, you can't miss it. Blue sign, blue, gray, and white, you can't miss it. Like, you can go there, buy your flooring today and have it installed tomorrow. You can buy it today, take it with you today if you want it. If you got the trucks and ability, it's New Orleans Flooring. NOLAflooring.com. Buy where the pros buy. Go to NOLAflooring.com.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, we're getting a bunch more recommendations for the Ocho Cinco bet. For those that missed it, Chad Johnson, a.k.a. Ocho Cinco, tweeted at me on Friday in response to the segment we did with his prediction about Derek Carr's stats for the year. And he said, look, let's make a wager, friendly wager. You name the terms, end of the season, I'll make good. So I'm asking you, what should our bet be? Some of those coming in. Andy Ortiz said, Matt, you have to go to a Maction game in late November and try to get on TV having stupid signs.
Okay. Yeah.
What if Ocho went to a game? I mean, that...
He'd get on TV easily.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
But, like, what if Ocho just randomly showed up at a Northern Illinois game in Thanksgiving week?
See, that'd be pretty good.
Tuesday night. That's my point. That would actually be cool. William Millet said, participate in a touchdown celebration dance-off to benefit LSU's NIL. Eric Hart, if you lose the bet, you have to wear an Ocho Cinco jersey and paint your head to look like you're wearing a Bengals helmet. You have to do this for a Football Friday show. Yeah, I need the reaction I want is, that's got to be the reaction. Gary Brown said, Matt, the perfect bet is for whoever loses has to grow their hair out for a week or two.
But okay. I mean, I get it.
We're both bald.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know if he chooses to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if he's follically challenged. I really don't know. And he's just always,
We'd have to really work that one out.
Travis McGraw said Ocho has to do AFR, participate in the fundraiser you do every year for the kids. That's the
Dreams Come True Radiothon?
I would guess that's what he's probably
That'd be
alluding
pretty
to.
cool. I actually do like that a lot.
Okay. All right, keep them coming. You can tweet me at Matt Moscona, or you can jump in the Byford YouTube chat on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, or you could text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. A lot of you probably just jumping in the car, maybe knocking off work. Catch you up to date on the draft if you haven't been following. Of course, 4 Tigers drafted day 1. Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz go 1-2. Ty Floyd went number 38 overall to the Cincinnati Reds. And then Grant Taylor went in round 2, number 51 overall, to the Chicago White Sox. Today, Trey Morgan got things started off early. He went 88th overall to the Tampa Bay Rays. So congrats to Trey Morgan on that. And then Gavin Dugas was the next Tiger picked with the first pick of round 6. I believe it was number 165 overall. 165 overall, Gavin Dugas goes to the Washington Nationals. That's it so far. So we are really, really keeping a close eye on Cameron Johnson. And, again, if you're just joining, Cameron Johnson is the lefty who was an LSU commit. There were 2 players who it's widely assumed had no shot of showing up on campus at all. And, you know, the fact that Cameron Johnson's one of them, the lefty who throws 95 from IMG Academy, the fact that he's still out there, I was told his asking price was $3 million. Clearly no team was willing to meet that. And up until now, he apparently is sticking to his number. And if that continues, then, you know, maybe he ends up on campus. There's a long way to go. I mean, a long way to go before we get there. But the fact that his name hasn't been called yet, at least now, has got to be that and Grant Taylor being taken 51st. Those are the 2 biggest storylines so far among LSU players. Guys, we're still waiting to hear the name call. I'm a little surprised. We've not seen Garrett Edwards called yet. I mean, several phone calls I had earlier today was expect him to go early. And the thought was he was going to get about $500,000. The fact that Garrett Edwards is still sitting there into round 9 is surprising, and Jordan Thompson as well. If you remember, Kylie McDaniel was here last week. Who else did we have last week?
Brian Sikowski from Perfect
Game. That's
yes.
right. Each of them had Thompson and Morgan inside of the top 5 rounds. Several scouts I talked to today said those 2, you'd expect them to come off within the first 5 rounds. Morgan did, went 88th overall in round 3. Great for Trey Morgan. Jordan Thompson, his wait continues here. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. If you're watching, you'll notice our guy, Paul O'Neill, over here. Go ahead, put yourself on camera, Paulie. Paulie's donning glasses. Paulie's going through the LASIK prep with our guy, Dr. Blake Williamson. We have to for a week, Paulie, or 2 weeks? What is it? I remember that.
1 week.
1 week. You have to no contacts for a week, and then you got to go for an exam, another exam, something like that. Yeah, you're going to be thrilled, man. You're going to be so happy you did it. But I remember the crazy part is when I had to do that, I hadn't updated. A lot of you are the same way because I just wore my glasses at night. Like when I took my contacts out and put just glasses around the house a little bit, I didn't update my prescription for years. And so my glasses prescription was very bad. And but I had to wear them for like a week and drive and all that sort of stuff. It was a little scary at the time. So be safe out there, Paul. But if you're like me or like Paul or thousands of other patients that have gone to the Williamson Eye Center, give yourself the gift of sight. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. If you were here on Friday, we mentioned that there were 2 pitching prospects that LSU was really in on in the transfer portal. And everyone keeps asking about Chase Burns from Tennessee, and I'll get to him in a second. But what I was told last week was there were 2 pitchers that LSU was really targeting. One was Luke Holman from Alabama, who was their Friday night guy. And if you remember, Luke Holman was the guy who was scratched from the start against LSU opposite Paul Skeens, which is when Brad Bohannon tipped off the better in Cincinnati, which ultimately got Brad Bohannon fired anyway. Holman is a really good arm. He's just not a Friday night ace. But if Luke Holman is your number 2 or 3 on your staff, that's incredible depth. So Luke Holman is one guy that they were targeting in the portal, and he still remains uncommitted. The other that I was told, and I shared with you on Friday, was a guy named Gage Jump, J-U-M-P. We got to get Sharif, too, by the way. Gage Jump. Gage isn't necessarily the most fratastic name, but Gage Jump in tandem is pretty
Together,
awesome.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Call him. We'll do it quickly. Just call him. Okay. So Gage Jump, told you about him on Friday. I looked smart for at least a millisecond because Gage Jump did commit to LSU on Friday night. He's a left-hander, did not pitch in 2023, had Tommy John. So as a freshman at UCLA back in 2022, 7 appearances, a 3.86 ERA, 172 batting average against, had 22 strikeouts in just 16 1/3 innings pitched. So you're talking about a lefty with strikeout stuff and a guy that could be a bullpen arm or could challenge to be in the weekend rotation. But he was a top 50 prospect in the country. Oh, no phones. He was a top 50 prospect in the country whenever he was coming out of high school. And so this is it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's a flyer because you've got a great arm talent. It's just a guy coming off of Tommy John. But this is a big get. And now LSU staff continues to be really left-handed heavy. We got to see what happens with guys like Ackenhausen and Riley Cooper. Cooper told us on the show last week he wants to sign. If he gets drafted, he's gone. Wants to start his pro career. Ackenhausen, a little more non-committal. And then you've got guys like Bronzini, who didn't pitch for you this past year. Primo, who didn't pitch for you this past year. Of course, Javen Coleman is still there. You've got lefties coming in. Now you've added Justin Lohr from Xavier, the transfer. Now you've added Gage Jump as well. You're going to be left-handed heavy, and then Jake Brown is another name as well. Jake Brown is part of the signing class, and he was right there on the borderline of the top 100 prospects in the draft class, but he's made it known he's coming to LSU. So that's a guy that is a two-way player, and my understanding is the plan for Jake Brown is he's going to pitch and then play first base and hit. Now, Bear Jones is going to be your starting first baseman and is going to hit in the middle of your lineup, and Brady Neal is going to be your catcher. But Jake Brown could be your backup first baseman, hit, and then could also pitch as well, be a really good arm from the left side. So we'll see what role he filters in there. But a lot of people have asked for an update on Chase Burns. And what I'll tell you is Wednesday is going to be the day where you see a ton of activity. Today's the 10th. The portal window is open till the 13th. So that's Thursday. Remember, Wednesday, after the draft ends tomorrow on Tuesday, we are going to see the market completely change, the transfer market completely change. The best way I could say it is give you an example of what happened last year with LSU. Remember a year ago, LSU went in the transfer portal and added 2 middle infielders. They had Carter Young from Vanderbilt and Jack Pineda from Baylor. Remember that? Well, both of those guys ended up getting drafted and signed. LSU had to go get a middle infielder and then went and got Ben DePolt. The point is, after Wednesday or after Tuesday, the market completely changes because we know if guys, high school prospects or college prospects have been drafted and plan to sign, so teams will know what their biggest needs are, one. And two, you have players that are going to be gone to pro ball, which will free up NIL money at certain places. Not every school, but at big schools that have NIL money and opportunities to spend, or scholarship money that will free up. So I know everybody's sort of eager, but you want to talk about if you're Chase Burns today, your asking price or what you can command in NIL valuation, I'm just speaking in terms that we all understand the reality of what happens. Your valuation goes up tremendously on Wednesday based on whatever happens today and tomorrow in the draft and what needs teams have. So just something worth keeping in mind. Wait till the draft finishes tomorrow, and then you should see much more activity as far as the portal goes. But Gage Jump was a teammate of Thatcher Hurd's at UCLA. He will join the LSU Tigers for the 2024 baseball season. All right, it's after further review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here as always. We're going to knock out a quick break, and when we come back, I do want to reset the. We'll get to some more of your suggestions about the Ocho Cinco wager. We're going to get to that. I got some Derek Carr stuff that I want to get to, but also, this could be the worst quarterback year in the SEC in a decade. I want to put some context behind that. Why it's a good thing for LSU. I'll get to that when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
buying or selling, commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. I was talking to Darren on Friday, and I was like, DJ, tell me, give me an update. How's the market going? He said, man, this is such a seller's market right now. And what's happened is, I think buyers have acknowledged that interest rates are going to be what they are for a while. They're not going down tremendously. And people have to buy homes. If you're moving for work, people are upsizing. Maybe it's a family event. If maybe you're going through a divorce and you have to buy a home if you separate. Like, life events happen and people need to buy homes, and so people are buying. But still, there's less than a 3-month inventory in Greater Baton Rouge right now. The average is a 6-month inventory. So there is a shortage of inventory on the market. If you are even thinking about selling your home, you've got to call Darren James. Do it now. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Albert Breer has a piece up at SI. It's the top quarterback prospects to watch ahead of the 2024 NFL Draft. And he consults with Jordan Palmer. Of course, a lot of people know Jordan Palmer played collegiately and then in the NFL for a brief time, but really is more made his name as a quarterback guru of sorts, who's worked with a ton of really elite level quarterbacks, prepping them for the draft and in their offseason. Now, There's a couple of quarterbacks that I think everybody's keeping an eye on. Caleb Williams is at the top of this draft list. Drake May from North Carolina. Those two are who everybody's considering. Bo Nix at Oregon is getting an awful lot of pub, considering when he was at Auburn, there was just so much good and bad, high and low. It was just a roller coaster ride with him, but there's a lot of people who are high on him now, heading into his final season, taking advantage of the extra COVID year there in Oregon. After those three, they highlight Michael Pratt from Tulane, Jordan Travis from Florida State, who's a sixth-year player, Quinn Ewers, the junior from Texas, who, of course, went to Ohio State with so much fanfare, transferred to Texas, and, had some really bright moments a year ago. J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. Spencer Rattler, who at one time was a projected number one pick in the draft 2 years ago. Michael Penix at Washington, another guy taking advantage of that extra year due to COVID. Will Howard from Kansas State. Joe Milton is really an interesting prospect. The top dozen that they highlight, the last one they mention is Jaden Daniels from LSU. And Jordan Palmer of Jaden Daniels said he may be a little bit of a sleeping giant. At other positions, they have a lot of guys similar to Burrow's year, where it's like, because the overall team success wasn't there, you don't realize how good that guy is. And with the corner or the linebacker or the guard, if you really look at that roster, they got a chance. He goes on. And if they got a quarterback, they got a chance. And so Jaden, being as mobile as he is, he's not a guy that ever turns it over. I've just seen him grow up a lot over the last 2 years and says, I think he's poised for a monster year. When you have a monster year at a school like LSU, when you've got NFL guys on your roster, you can really climb in the draft. So, again, that's what Jordan Palmer was saying about Jaden Daniels. And we've talked a lot about Jaden. We're going to see Jaden at SEC Football Media Days, and I think we've gone over and over why Daniels is a prime candidate for a huge year. A season ago with a revolving door, a turnstile on the offensive line for half the season, never really having a marquee back, some inconsistency at receiver. The fact that you're steadied now, year two with Mike Denbrock, you've got 6 of your top 7 offensive linemen returning. You've got a stable of backs now as well, with adding Logan Diggs to the mix and getting Armani Goodwin back healthy to go with the guys you already had. We've talked plenty about the receiving room and what they've added as well. There's a lot of reason to think Jaden Daniels will build upon the year he had a season ago. But what's interesting is I kind of look at this. There's an interesting contradiction, because with all the names that I just mentioned, I didn't even mention guys like Devin Leary, Brennan Armstrong, Deion Sun, Shedeur Sanders, Keaton Slovis. You realize Keaton Slovis is at BYU now? He started at USC, transferred to Pitt, now he's at BYU. He's at his third school. Cam Rising from Utah has been nothing but a winner. DJU, 5-star former number 1 quarterback, who's at Clemson. He's now at Oregon State. This is such a deep draft class. But what's so interesting about it, though, is sometimes sheer numbers in the NFL draft doesn't always play out. Like, if I look at the 2016 NFL draft, there were 15 quarterbacks taken in the 2016 NFL draft. Listen to this list of quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft that year. You had, forgive me, I lost my spot. I'm sorry. Here you go. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Paxton Lynch, Christian Hackenberg, Jacoby Brissett. That was an audible groan from Muse over there. Cody Kessler, Connor Cook, Dak in round 4, Cardale Jones, Kevin Hogan, Nate Sudfeld, Jake Rudick, I don't remember, from Michigan. Brandon Allen, Jeff Driscoll, Brandon Doty, and that was it. You had 15 quarterbacks taken. They all stink. Dak's been good. Wentz had a moment till he got hurt. Goff has been to a Super Bowl and might actually be better in Detroit now, but let's be real what we're talking about here. By contrast, if you go look at the 2022 draft, okay, the 2022 NFL draft had only 9 quarterbacks taken. But listen to the to the quarterbacks that were taken in the 2022 draft. Sorry, I lost my spot again. I had this up. My apologies, y'all. I screwed that up just because of being a little sporadic. So here you go. Of the 9 quarterbacks that were taken in the 2022 NFL draft, so compare or contrast this to 2016 when there were 15. Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder is about to be a starter, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, we'll see, Bailey Zappi, who played a good bit last year for New England, Sam Howell, who's been a starter, Chris Oladokun from South Dakota State, Skylar Thompson from Kansas State, and then Brock Purdy was we all know was Mr. Relevant and was phenomenal last year as a rookie. So even though you only had 9, you had more depth. I look at this year and I go, man, you may have both. You may have numbers and depth. But as I started to say, and by the way, I think a part of that is the COVID impact. Because you've had more guys stay in school because of COVID and take advantage of the COVID year, you've had guys develop more. Like Jordan Travis, Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels would have been a 3-year college player without COVID. He had the dynamic freshman season. COVID happens. He plays just a handful of games in 2020. And then 2021 was almost like a reset. It was a disaster there at Arizona State. And then 2022, his 4th year, really mirrored his freshman year. He threw for, as a freshman, 29-43. First year at LSU, 29-13. He threw for 17 touchdowns as a freshman, 17 his first year at LSU. 2 interceptions as a freshman, 3 his first year at LSU. You see my point? Like, the seasons mirrored each other. It was almost like he had to reset his career. Well, now he's got another year to build on top of it. So, Spencer Rattler would have already been gone. You know what I mean? So, you have depth in this quarterback draft class as a result largely of COVID. But what's odd is that as deep as the NFL draft class is, this may be the worst SEC quarterback year in a decade. Our buddy Brad Crawford from 247 Sports released his quarterback ranking list today. And again, I don't care what order he's got them. I don't care at all. Just listen to the names on the list. Graham Mertz, A.J. Swan, Brady Cook, Peyton Thorne, Jalen Milroe, Connor Wegman, Jackson Dart, Will Rogers, Carson Beck, Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, Devin Leary, Jaden Daniels, K.J. Jefferson. That ain't good. So for what it's worth, he's got K.J. Jefferson from Arkansas, number 1, Jaden, number 2. I would personally flip them. We've talked about that before, prior, and it's not just an LSU thing. Jaden actually has played more games than KJ and has been more productive in his career at 2 different places. That's objective fact based on what he's been able to do. You may like KJ because of his physicality. That's fine. He's a very good player. But Jaden Daniels has had the better career than KJ Jefferson. But here's the odd thing. I mentioned the worst quarterback year in a decade. I have highlighted this plenty of times. 2013, I think, is the best year for SEC quarterbacks. 2013 had Johnny Manziel, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Aaron Murray, who when he left had set every career SEC passing record because he was a 4-year starter. A.J. McCarron, who had won back-to-back national titles in 11 and 12. You had Zach Mettenberger. Connor Shaw, who won back-to-back 11-game seasons at South Carolina. James Franklin, who got Missouri to back-to-back SEC championship games. Like, the depth at the quarterback position in Jordan Rogers at Vanderbilt, who won 9 games there. The depth at quarterback in the top tiers was incredible in 2013. And what you saw after that subsequent was a dip. Here were the quarterbacks in the SEC in 2015. You ready for this? Muse, can you, off the top of your head, to remember quarterbacks in the league in 2015?
Let's see. You had...
Let me jog your memory.
Okay.
Treon Harris at Florida. Brandon Allen.
At Arkansas, okay.
Matty Mock.
Mizzou, yeah.
Will Grier.
Kentucky, okay, yeah.
No.
Will Grier was
Florida.
Florida, sorry, yeah.
Swag Kelly.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Sean White at Auburn. along with Jeremy Johnson. They split time that year. Kyle Allen at Texas A&M. Dak was at Mississippi State. Grayson Lambert, the Virginia transfer, was at Georgia. Jake Coker at Bama. They won the Natty.
Yeah.
Johnny McCrary was your starter at Vanderbilt. Patrick Tolles was your starter at Kentucky. Joshua Dobbs at Tennessee. And Perry Orth at South Carolina. Friend, that was the worst quarterback year in the history of this conference. Certainly since, let me rephrase. Worst quarterback league since I've been covering this conference. The list I just read off to you for this year may challenge that. Graham Mertz, A.J. Swan, Brady Cook, Peyton Thorne, Jalen Milroe, Connor Wegman, Jackson Dart, Will Rogers, Carson Beck, Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, Devin Leary, Jaden Daniels, KJ Jefferson. Now, according to our friend Josh Bertoncini, KJ's a Heisman candidate. But I think you all understand the point. The point is, with that being your list of quarterbacks in the SEC, and that could change. Guys are going to lose jobs. We know that's going to happen. Maybe Spencer Sanders ends up being the guy at Ole Miss. Maybe it's not Carson Beck at Georgia. We'll see. But my point is, there ain't a lot of meat on the bone coming back under center, which means when you are in a position like LSU is with Jaden Daniels, when you are established at quarterback with a veteran guy who's played a ton, who's seen it all, who's been in everything, the odds shift in your favor. It's a giant reason why it ain't just about, oh, can LSU take the next step? It's like, who else is going to make that step on this list? A lot of reason, valid reason, to have LSU at or near the top of any championship prediction this year. Okay, it's after further review. Knock out a quick break. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers Nicholson. Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's at Pluckers, where tonight and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Get on by either Pluckers location, pay one low price, eat as many wings as you want all night long. Yes, we are headed into the Major League Baseball All-Star break, so MLB is on pause, but maybe you love soccer. Maybe you love some kind of weird sports. I don't even know what weird sports, cricket and croquet. They got international leagues somewhere in the country and you're wanting to bet on it. FIBA, International NBA Summer League, they got it at Pluckers, either location, but it's all about the wings. It's about award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Pluckers has been voted a top 5 wing restaurant in America, top 10 sports bar in America. Why would you go anywhere else other than the place where they serve award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, have a full-service bar, and sports on TV? That's at Pluckers with 2 locations. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street. The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
So on Saturday, the Detroit Tigers won a baseball game 2-0, and Alex Lang recorded save number 13 on the season. This one, though, a little bit more special than the rest. Well, there was no commentary there. That was really weird.
Turn back up.
Downtown Detroit at Comerica Park.
Wait, hang on.
What was that all about?
Just witnessed history. Guys, history. Guys, we have just witnessed history down here at downtown Detroit at Comerica Park. A combined no-hitter for the Detroit Tigers.
So Alex Lang polished off the combined no-hitter.
What a terrible call.
That was awful. What?
I am all about letting the moment breathe, but you're calling the no-hitter.
They didn't even describe the play. And I get it. It's like that was a television call. That was a Bally Sports call, but that's just bad. So Lang finished off a combined no-hitter. Shout out to Alex Lang. For what it's worth, Kevin Gausman was the starting pitcher on the other side of that game. He got tagged with a tough luck loss. Through 6 innings, gave up 2 runs and struck out 7. But because his team didn't score and they got no hit, he got an L. It's ridiculous. Aaron Nola on the bump last night for the Phillies. 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 earned. Didn't walk anybody, punched out 6. The Phillies only scored 3 runs, and he got a tough luck L. Major League Baseball draft last night. Paul Skeens, number 1 overall. Dylan Cruz, number 2 overall. First time in history that's ever been done. Ty Floyd, 38th overall. Grant Taylor, 51st overall. Trey Morgan today, 88th overall. And Gavin Dugas, 165th overall. Finally, we wrap up with NBA Summer League. The Summer Rockets, home to Tari Eason, got the start. 32 minutes last night, 26 points, 9 rebounds for Tari to go along with 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He was +5 and stuffed the stat sheet.
Shouldn't be playing in the Summer League.
Probably not, no. But we appreciate the content from Tari Eason, and it's great to see him out there. It's great to see him out there.
Well, good job, Tari.
That's Tigers of the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Locations all over the state. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, and Lafayette. Shout out 337. We appreciate y'all for being there with us. Lee Michaels has helped people get engaged for more than 30 years. And if they don't have exactly what you're looking for, they can custom design exactly what you're looking for within your budget. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we are pumped to have you aboard with us here. So the MLB Draft, they are winding down round number 9. Still no Cameron Johnson off the board. Go ahead, Muse. I gave Muse, I said, give me a comp. You had a good one for what this would mean for a pitcher if a guy like that would show up. You said?
I said Kevin Gausman.
That's a good one.
Gausman was the 6th-round pick out of high school and showed up on campus.
Someone had asked via text, would this comp to Bregman or Cruz? I'd rather give a pitcher comp. And for Gausman to be taken in round 6 and to show up, I need to go revisit that, what actually happened there. Because generally, you get drafted in the top 10 rounds. You signed it. All right, hour number 3 is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. With more than 30 offices across 11 different states, you're never far, and they can help you out. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Remember, if they've been around since 1947. And I say that, and sometimes the year may go in one ear, out the other, but the point is, this is a business that has been locally owned and operated for more than 70 years. 76 years, to be exact now. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. I know we have so many men and women that are loyal listeners that work in plants and a lot of different sites all around the state. And I'm so grateful. And so many of you use Michelli and their services every single day. So remember, you need something weighed, measured, calibrated, on-site mobile calibration available, or you can ship your devices to them. The website is so easy. Check out everything that they do at Michelli.com. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Get to Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A man accused of raping a child in foster care is scheduled to go to trial for his alleged crimes tomorrow. For a decade, the case was ignored and fell on deaf ears. John Mack is facing 8 counts of child rape, sexual battery, and indecent behavior with a juvenile. At least 200 jurors are subpoenaed for court. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Victor Wembanyama's summer league has come to an end. The Spurs have decided to shut down the top overall pick in the NBA draft following a stellar second game in Vegas. The team and 19-year-old will spend the next couple of months coming up with a plan to set him up for the best position to be ready when the season tips off this fall. ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
When you watch him and he kind of looks like he's off balance a lot and falls down, that's who he is. He is generally a lot lighter than people who he plays against. He does get pushed around. That's his game. He's used to being off balance and stuff. So that's something that's going to stick around in the fall. But the Spurs are also going to have to learn how to use them. There's a learning curve on both sides here.
There's no sense of urgency for the Trailblazers regarding Damian Lillard's trade request. GM Joe Cronin told reporters they're going to be patient, do what's best for the team, and if it takes months, it takes months. Cronin also said the Blazers haven't given up hope. Dame changes his mind and wants to stay in Portland. The Yankees' new hitting coach is MLB Network analyst Sean Casey. The Yankees' .231 batting average, 28th in the majors, trailing only Detroit and Oakland.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. The final few picks of round 10 are about to come off the board. There are 6 picks remaining here in day 2 of the MLB draft. So let's let these picks come off, and then in the next segment, we'll kind of give you a full reset of the first 2 days of the draft. If you missed it, of course, by now you know Paul Skeens, number 1 overall to Pittsburgh. Dylan Cruz went number 2 to Washington. First time it's ever happened that teammates have gone 1-2 in the Major League Draft. More history for LSU. It was a phenomenal day for, quite honestly, for LSU baseball. Not only with those 2 guys going at the top of the draft, but Jay Johnson on the set for all 4.5 hours of the MLB Network's draft coverage was just amazing to see that that amount of promotion for the program. A huge opportunity for Ty Floyd. And you love to see Floyd, who went 38th overall. He went in round 1, the competitive balance A round. So between the sandwich round, between round 1 and 2. Went 38th overall to Cincinnati. His slot value there is $2.5 million. A guy who wasn't drafted out of high school, comes to college, continues to develop, wins a national championship, and makes $2.5 million as a draft pick after his junior year. And then Grant Taylor also went on. I'm sure you saw. Grant Taylor went on Sunday night, number 51 overall to the Chicago White Sox. This is the. Well, it's a little bit of a catch-22. You're thrilled for Grant Taylor, a guy who had an unfortunate injury with so much promise this year, and still is going to get a 7-figure signing bonus. That's awesome. The disappointing part, selfishly, as an LSU fan, is you never get a chance to watch Grant Taylor at his best in the purple and gold. So sometimes it goes that way. The gigantic story, however, we are watching today is Cameron Johnson, the lefty from IMG Academy, who Throws 95, has touched 98 from the left side. Those guys don't show up on college campuses. He's still undrafted. I was told his number was $3 million. Nobody met it in round 1. We're about to get through round 10, and he still has not heard his name called. It's not to say he won't come off that number. Something could happen. But there are 3 picks remaining here in round number 2, so we will reset that in day number 2. Forgive me, round 10, when that's finished. So let's let round 10 finish, day 2 finish, and in the next segment I'll do a full recap of everything that happened today for those that are interested here in the MLB draft. All right, it is after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Of course, so many of those guys whose names we called and heard have trained over at Traction in Baton Rouge. Traction's baseball camps reset this week. So Traction summer baseball camps, they took off last week for the 4th of July. If you're looking for something for your son, 5 and up to do throughout the summer in these final few weeks before school gets back cranking. It's hard to believe, but school's less than a month away. But full and half-day options over at Traction. And if your son or daughter plays sports and you want them to get sports-specific training with the best, Traction does it. The same trainers that work with professional athletes and college athletes, they can work with your son or daughter on sport-specific strength and conditioning for their sport. It doesn't matter if it's baseball or football or basketball or track and field, or if it's lacrosse or volleyball, soccer, whatever it may be. Traction can help. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. CBS Sports, Will Brinson over at CBS Sports did his quarterback tiers. And the only reason I find these interesting, and I don't pay a ton of attention necessarily to summertime lists. I understand why writers have to put together lists. You have to have some type of content during the summer months, so I get why they do it. But it's essentially just someone's opinion. More so when I look at things like that, I try to see if I can extrapolate something from these types of opinions. And what was interesting to me is that, Will Brinson had his quarterback tiers, and tier 4 is the you can win with them tier. And that's where we find Derek Carr. So, the top tier, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Interesting that Justin Herbert wasn't in there. But the next tier was Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts. There was tier 3, which he labeled intrigue with question marks. And then, as I mentioned, tier 4 is the you can win with them tier. And so the reason I found this interesting is, I was curious to see what company Derek Carr kept. So, meaning if he's in this tier, who else is in this tier? And that's a good sort of comparative analysis for what you might expect from him. So here's the list of the tier 4 that Derek Carr is in. Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. The write-up is the best way to describe these guys. They can get you to the playoffs if everything about them breaks in their favor, but you cannot envision a scenario where they take you on a deep playoff run or win you a Super Bowl without a really stout defense or run game combo or the stars simply aligning. And it was interesting to read it. I'm not just reading it because it validates my opinion, honestly. If there was I would love to read something that contradicted me and gave me reason to believe otherwise. But a lot of you have called me, I shouldn't say a lot of you, but we'll post our videos on YouTube or whatever the case may be, and some of you will tweet at me, and a lot of you will call me a hater. I'm not a hater. I love the Saints. I'm the exact opposite of a hater. I'm a Saints homer. I want nothing but great things for my team. I want Derek Carr to have an MVP season, throw for 5,000 yards, and win the Super Bowl. I want that. But I have to sit here objectively every day and give you my opinion on what I think Derek Carr and the Saints can do. And the mountain of evidence continues to stack up to suggest that he's what I've said he is. The Saints' projected win total in Vegas by odds makers is 9.5 games. When you look at every single projection tier list, anything like this, they all say the same thing. Like, Derek Carr is going to have to do something extraordinary this year, his 10th year in the NFL, to surpass what realistic expectations are for him. And the realistic expectations are exactly that. By the way, in the same quarterback tier list, Derek Carr is the highest rated quarterback in the NFC South, which is less of a commentary on his ability, more of a commentary on how bad the league is, the division is. They got Baker Mayfield and Desmond Ridder in the 6th tier, and then Bryce Young is in the 7th tier, which is the rookies. So I'm not saying Derek Carr, I'll repeat it again. I'm not saying he's finished. I'm not saying he stinks. I'm not saying he's not going to do anything at all. I'm saying, what's your goal? Is your goal to win games and win a bad division? He's going to do that for you. Like, you're going to win. You'll go 9-8, maybe 10-7. You'll win a bad NFC South, and you'll get bounced in the first round. Maybe you win a wild card round game because you got it at home as a division champion. Maybe. But do I think the Saints, with Derek Carr, as they're constructed, are able to make a deep run and push to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl? No, I don't. I hope he proves me wrong. I would love it if he proved me wrong. I would love to be sitting here in January and you all laughing at me saying, look how dumb you were. I'd be like, yes, I was so dumb. But I'm not going to be alone. Because it's basically everybody over here with me, and then Saints fans over here hoping that Derek Carr is what they hope he can be and is the opposite of what the Raiders have told you he is, which is a guy whose best football is behind him and is not capable of getting you to the next level. So, it's another piece of evidence that suggests what I've been saying for a long time. You know, we talked about the Ocho Cinco bit, which is, Ocho Cinco's projected Derek Carr to have 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 picks. That would put him in the same category as Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. I don't believe that's realistic. And it's not like he was void of talent a year ago. He had Devontae Adams. He had Hunter Renfrow. He had Darren Waller. He had Josh Jacobs. He had a lot of talent on that offense. So maybe Derek Carr comes here, has a career year. The Saints win 13 games, they're the 1 seed, and win the Super Bowl. It would thrill me if that were the case. I just don't believe it is. All right, it's after further review. By the way, if you're just joining us and you missed it earlier, my reference to Ocho Cinco, that is legit. Ocho Cinco tweeted me on Friday night after Paulie put up a vertical short of the segment we did talking about Ocho Cinco's predictions for Derek Carr. And he tweeted at me and said, Matt, let's make a wager. Name it on Derek Carr's season. So what I told him, actually, here, I'll pull up the tweet. Here it is. He said, this was Friday, July 7th. He said, Matt, it's Ocho. Let's make a friendly wager on my prediction. You must understand the skill set of his supporting cast. They'll make his job easy. All Carr has to do is facilitate, and those exact numbers will come to fruition. So I said, I'm game. What do you have in mind? He said, you decide, let me know, and I'll make good. So I said, I'll ask my radio audience. I'll get back to you on Monday night, and we'll make the terms. So we have I'm going to tweet Ocho Cinco back tonight. I think so far the best that we got is if I win, Ocho Cinco has to come do a show in studio. He's going to fly to Baton Rouge and sit right next to me for 3 hours. Yeah?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's strong.
And then if I lose, I don't want him to have to come here, right? Oh, that'd be great. But what I suggested was if I lose, I will do a show at Don Juan, totally free remote, and I'll make his cigar brand, 85 Cigars. We'll feature his cigars, discount them. I'll buy them and give them away. I'll buy a box and give them away to people who come, whatever. But basically do a big promotion for his cigar brand at Don Juan.
I think that's fair terms on both sides, for sure.
I just want to make sure that that's even. Because I'm telling him, like, he's got to fly to Louisiana and do a 3-hour show with me.
Yeah.
If he loses. But if he wins, then he don't have to do nothing. But I'm just going to promote his cigar brand for him.
Yeah, I mean, free pub.
All right, we'll see if he agrees to it. Unless if you've got ideas, fire away. Email me, tweet me at Matt Moscona. You can text me 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. Is round 10 finished?
The Astros are dragging this thing out for some reason.
Fine.
I don't really know why.
Final pick of round 10. So the final pick of day 2 belongs to the Houston Astros, number 314 overall. We'll get that pick, and when we come back, we'll reset the day 2 of the draft for LSU. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Saturday is Drew's birthday party. And if you listen to the show for any length of time, you've heard me say this, but in our household, Erica treats Drew's birthday party like a federal holiday. It's like the presidential inauguration. It is a massive deal for which she spends months preparing. And a big part of that is Clegg's Nursery. So, of course, we go to Clegg's. We get everything we need to make the flower beds and the patio pots beautiful, to green up the lawn, everything we need. Clegg's has it all. Of course, if you're trying to do away with pests, they've got all of those deterrents as well over at Clegg's Nursery, like the Aeon mosquito barrier that I tell you about all the time. $24.99. $24.99, and you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. They got it at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified, and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust. after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, glad you're hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Hope you had a great weekend. It was a phenomenal weekend for the LSU baseball program. Day 2 of the MLB draft is now in the books. So the first 10 rounds are in the books. And that's significant because the first 10 rounds, as we've explained, is where the MLB draft pool, the bonus pool, is consistent. So every team, by now you know, has a bonus pool. And they can spend that total amount of money for all of their draft picks. And that's allocated for the first 10 rounds. So, for example, the Pirates' bonus pool was $16.1 million that they could spend on their top 10 round picks. The Tigers, $15.7 million. The Nationals, $14.5, and so on. And then every pick has an associated slot value. And players can either sign for that value, sometimes over that value, sometimes under that value. But in total, the amount spent by that team can't exceed their draft slot pool number. So the reason that this is significant is because, generally speaking, with few rare exceptions, if a player is taken in the first 10 rounds, they have agreed to a contract and are going to sign. So Paul Skeens has agreed to his number with Pittsburgh. Dylan Cruz agreed to his number with Washington. When Ty Floyd went to Cincinnati at 38, the slot value there is $2.5 million. He either got that number, maybe higher, lower, don't know, but he agreed to it. Grant Taylor is one we were obviously watching because we didn't know if he would sign or if he would choose to come back to school, try to pitch, get healthy, pitch in 2024, and maybe become a top half of round 1 guy. Sort of bet on himself. Well, the fact that he went in round 2 tells you he took the deal that Chicago gave him and he's signing. So every player whose name is called in the first 10 rounds, they've agreed upon a deal. Now, there are times when those deals fall apart. Maybe the most notable example recently was Kumar Rocker, who was taken with a top 10 pick. Upon evaluation, after further review, they thought he maybe had an arm issue. They wanted to lower his number, and he said, bleep you, and so there was no deal. And he went and played indie baseball and then went back in the draft. So keep in mind, Trey Morgan started off the festivities for LSU on day 2 of the draft, going number 88 overall to Tampa. Trey Morgan is going to Tampa. Some people had asked you, could Trey Morgan come back? No. Trey Morgan has agreed to his deal with Tampa. He is going to play for the Tampa organization. He's got his number, whatever that is, that he agreed to with Tampa, and that's that. So Trey Morgan is gone. After Trey Morgan, the other player that was taken on Tuesday in day 2 of the draft was Gavin Dugas. This is one of the ones that we told you about going into the day that was a real possibility that a team could look at LSU's seniors and offer them with no leverage and offer them way under slot value. So Gavin Dugas was taken with the first pick of round 6 today at number 165 overall. Now, the slot value for that pick was over $300,000. He is not going to get that. Remember, the example I've shared several times, of course, is Kramer, who after his junior year was taken in round 32, was offered $250K, passed, came back for his senior year, went in round 4, and got $125. Got half the amount he was offered in round 32 the year prior. That's what happens when you have no leverage. So I don't know what Washington offered, but Washington paid a very big ticket for Dylan Cruz, and so they were able to save money in round 6 with Gavin Dugas, whatever that number is. I'll candidly tell you, I had a scout this morning tell me that he would call and offer Gavin Dugas $5,000 and say, do you want to continue your baseball career? Do you want to go work a desk job? So I don't know if the number was that low, but whatever the number is, Gavin Dugas no doubt took less than what that slot value is and will forever be a 6th-round pick of the Washington Nationals. So congrats to Gavin Dugas. That was it for the LSU players taken today. And there's some significance here. So Garrett Edwards is a guy that I was told this morning would likely come off the board early with a number of about $500,000. And he did not hear his name called at all today. That's not to say Garrett Edwards won't end up signing. Remember, Edwards missed the bulk of the season after having Tommy John. And it's unlikely he's able to pitch next year. The $500,000 slot values would have been in the 130. So like pick 130 with the Phillies at $501K. The draft came and went today, and Garrett Edwards didn't hear his name called. That's not to say he won't get that number and won't sign. I'll remind you, Paul Gervais a year ago was in this boat. Paul Gervais went undrafted after 2 days. He told Jay Johnson, he tweeted, I'm coming back, let's roll. A day later, right at the top of the draft, some team gave him his number. He deleted the tweet and, of course, signed with the Yankees. So that happens. And I think that's going to happen still with Garrett Edwards tomorrow. At some point, he'll get his number or a number and will sign. The other name that, and before the draft started today, tweeted a couple things to keep an eye on, and one was if a team would take a chance on Christian Little. And you may roll your eyes because Little didn't have a great season, but you got to remember with the Major League Draft, it's different than any other draft. They're drafting on potential. And Little is still 19 years old. And at 19, when you throw mid-upper 90s, even though you have no command, some team may look at you and go, I'll take the guy with a great frame who throws mid-upper 90s, who's 19 years old. I'll put him in my farm system with great coaching, and I'll refine him and develop him and pay him, $150K, whatever the number, $250K, whatever the number may be. Maybe Christian Little wanted more than that and so said, no thanks, whenever the calls came. But that was going to be an interesting one worth watching today, and Little went undrafted. So is that a situation where a guy decides maybe to come back for his senior year? If he does that, he loses all leverage. Remember, he's only got 1 year of eligibility remaining. He didn't redshirt. He played his first 2 years at Vanderbilt and then came here for his junior year. So does Little get picked on day 3 and just take what he's offered, or does he look to come back? That's going to be interesting. Jordan Thompson is the other one that's very surprising. I'm looking at it right here. Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball has is listed the best remaining prospects in the draft, and he's got Jordan Thompson. They had Jordan Thompson graded there at D1 Baseball as number 155 in the entire draft. So that would have put him in round 5 of this draft. And so Jordan Thompson is still on the board. If you're watching, there it is. I'll highlight it for you. They had Jordan Thompson. I can't highlight it. Sorry. But they had Jordan Thompson number 155 overall in the prospect rankings, and he's still on the board here, 310 picks into the draft, 10 rounds into the draft. So that happens. For whatever it's worth, they also had Ackenhausen at 164, and he's still on the board as well. So sometimes it happens. Listen, sometimes you just don't reach a deal. And we'll see, the highest ranked prospect they have remaining is Tanner Witt, the righty from Texas. They had as the 22nd overall prospect in this draft. Clearly, that's a guy who didn't get his number and might be looking at coming back to school. So that's the story for the guys on the LSU roster. Now, Thompson will get picked tomorrow. He's going to sign. I still think Little is going to be really interesting, as will Edwards. Some of the other guys to keep an eye on day 3, we mentioned Nate Ackenhausen. He joined us last week on the show. He was a little non-committal. Kind of depended on the situation. Did he get his number? If not, he was going to come back to school. We'll see what he does. Riley Cooper told us last week he wanted to start his pro career. So he'll have his name called at some point tomorrow and will likely get a chance to go play pro ball. The other guys that are going to be really interesting for day 3 as far as LSU players, the catchers, Hayden Travinski, Alex Milazzo, both have eligibility, so they could return, or either or both could sign and go start their pro career depending on where they're taken tomorrow. Braden Jobert is in that same boat, a guy who certainly has great power, made himself into a very good right fielder this year. Not great speed, doesn't hit for average, so all the tools aren't there, but certainly a guy that could make his way through the minor league system because of the power tool and become a very good player in time. So that's kind of what you're keeping an eye on for in day 3. But the most interesting development so far is what's happened with Cameron Johnson. On Friday, when we were talking, we mentioned 4 LSU commitments. 2 that were almost certainty locks to be drafted and assigned, and 2 that were 50-50 guys. One of them was a no-brainer. Blake Mitchell went 8th overall to Kansas City. He's gone. The other was Cameron Johnson. Cameron Johnson is the lefty from IMG Academy down in Florida. He's a lefty who throws 95, sits 95. He's touched 97, 98. He was asking $3 million, according to the best information that I got. And apparently no team was willing to touch his number or has been willing to touch his number yet. And I'm going to say this again, but it's not unprecedented for guys in day 2 or day 3 to get way over slot value. There may be a team that has money to spend that sits there on day 3 and goes, and they call Cameron Johnson and say, would you take 2-1? And maybe on day 3, after he's sitting there sweating it, decides, yeah, I will. Or maybe he says, my number's $3 million. I'm going to school if I don't get it. We'll see. But the fact that you've made it through the first 2 days and that kid's name has not been called is a major development. It's less so for someone like Edwards or Little or some of the guys currently on campus that we talked about, because they could come back to school. And maybe there's a team that doesn't want to pay him. But for Cameron Johnson, a guy with that much upside, to go through the first 10 rounds, that is a major development for LSU if they're able to get that kid to campus, because it was just assumed he was gone. I mean, we saw mock drafts with him as high as the teens. I mean, the lowest I saw him picked was around where Ty Floyd went in the competitive balance round A, the sandwich round A. So the fact that you're talking about a guy that the lowest mock draft we saw was him, maybe the 40s. The fact that he's still sitting on the board after 10 rounds is pretty stunning. And maybe there's a chance you get this kid. The chance you get this kid to campus is dramatically increasing the fact that you've gone 2 days and his name hasn't been called. I said there were 4 prospects. It was Mitchell and Johnson. The other 2 were Stephen Milam and Ashton Larson. Milam is a shortstop. Larson is an outfielder. Neither of them have had their name called so far either. And that's a situation where when you get into day 3, I don't know what those kids' numbers were. One of them's from New Mexico, one of them's from Kansas. Milam's from New Mexico, Larson's from Kansas. So whoever their representatives are, those area scouts would know more about their numbers. I don't know their numbers. But when you get into day 3, you're starting to stretch thin on what teams can or would be willing to pay. I mean, by the time you got to the end of round 10, so for example, the Astros slot value for the last pick of round 10 was $164,000. What did Milam and Larson want? If they were looking for high 6 figures or low 7 figures, even mid 6 figures, it's hard to imagine them getting that now. So do they want to play college ball, or are they just aching to go play pro ball? I don't know, but you may get 2 really good players on campus that were 50-50 guys. And of the 4 that you were sweating, 1 is definitely gone, and the other 3 are still on the board going into day 3, which is a great place to be if you're Jay Johnson heading into day 3 of the draft. So as we head to day 3, the things worth keeping an eye on, again, are the 3 high school prospects that are still on the board that were thought to be draft risks. Johnson, Milam, and Larson, those 3 in whatever order. And then the guys who could hear their names called, the LSU players who could hear their names called: Edwards, Thompson, Little, Milazzo, Travinsky, Joe Bear. Those are the names you're going to keep an eye on day 3 of the draft. But so far, I don't know that this could have gone any better for this LSU program. To have the type of attention you got at the top of the draft with Skeens and Cruz going 1-2, Floyd going in round 1 as well at 38, or in the sandwich round. To have Grant Taylor not even pitch this year and go 51 and get a 1-5 signing bonus. Trey Morgan coming off the board, Gavin Dugas coming off the board. And then obviously to still have a lot of talent in this draft class that looks like they're leaning toward showing up on campus. So one more day of the draft, and we'll know, tomorrow when we're sitting here on AFR, we'll know what LSU's lot is after the draft, and we'll have a much better sense of what the roster is going to look like, and we'll have an even greater sense of what targets LSU may have in the transfer portal, heading into the 2024 season as we head through this summer. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by our friends over at DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the UFC. Of course, UFC 290 was this past weekend. But, y'all, DraftKings, amazing opportunity always from our friends over at DraftKings. Remember, right now, we're heading into the MLB All-Star break. If you bet $5 on anything, $5 on anything, our friends over at DraftKings give you $150 in bonus bets instantly. Right now, Major League Baseball, brightest stars are aligning in Seattle. All-Star weekend is upon us. The biggest players in the game are meeting for this year's All-Star matchup. You can get your bests in right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook and take a swing at some big-time money. Bet $5 on the All-Star game and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's any $5 bet on the All-Star game and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers, you can take your winnings to the next level with DraftKings same-game parlays. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You got to opt in for the same-game parlays. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers bet $5 and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select pairs only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, y'all. It's After Further Review. There is another bit of LSU baseball news from the weekend, as Jay Johnson has reportedly, LSU hasn't announced this officially yet, but Kendall Rogers has it. LSU has hired an assistant, and it's a familiar face who's coming back to Baton Rouge. We'll talk about that coming up next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Give them a buzz. If you have issues with your AC, call River City's 1 hour air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Remember, nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out, and they'll never charge you extra to come out. I've told you the story before about on 1 year on Easter Sunday, they came out to our house. On Father's Day, it was on the 4th of July. It was at 9:30 at night. They had a technician at Chris Elliott's house, our operations manager here at Guarantee, on the 4th of July. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. They'll never charge you extra to come out. So if you have issues with your home central AC, give our friends at River City's 1 hour air a call. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Visit our friends at River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Hutco Roofing brings you live coverage of the 2023 SEC Football Media Days, Monday, July 17th through Thursday, July 20th. Our coverage is also brought to you locally by Rev Business.
We're excited to be there. If you missed the news earlier today, the full list of attendees for for SEC Football Media Days has been announced. LSU taking Jaden Daniels, Josh Williams, senior running back, and Mekhi Wingo, the defensive lineman who had a fantastic season last year, especially in light of the Mason Smith injury. So to have a third-team All-American season was remarkable, and Mekhi Wingo was awesome and certainly deserving of the opportunity to go to SEC Football Media Days next week. The thing that is a bit of a bummer for Media Days is there are definitely some players that won't be in attendance that I certainly would have wished that the SEC would have mandated teams bring. Muse mentioned it earlier. Devin Leary from Kentucky is certainly one of them, and said Eli Cox, Octavius Oxendine, and J.J. Weaver are the attendees. It's nothing against those young men, the student athletes, but when you have an event like this, my contention has always been you got to bring the people that people want to hear from and want to see. So that's disappointing. There's only a handful of teams in the league that are bringing their quarterbacks. Arkansas is bringing K.J. Jefferson, who did attend last year as well, by the way. LSU's bringing Jaden Daniels. Will Rogers of Mississippi State will be in attendance. And Spencer Rattler and Joe Milton are the others. So 5 of the 14 schools are bringing their quarterback. Only 5 of the 14. And I did mention last hour that I think this might be the leanest quarterback year in the conference in a decade. I think in almost a decade. I think 2015 was a banner year for futility under center in the SEC. But still, there are interesting stories and people that you'd like to talk to. I mean, yes, I would rather talk to Connor Wegman from Texas A&M instead of one of the 2 defensive linemen they're bringing. Yes, absolutely, I would rather that. So, in any event, Media Day starts a week from today. We'll be there. And, of course, Hutco Roofing, our presenting sponsor. Tell you all the time, do business with someone you know. Hutco Roofing, HutcoRoofing.com. And I know we launched a couple of weeks ago in Southwest Louisiana, so big hat tip to our friends there on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. Hutco services all of Louisiana, so no matter where you are in Louisiana, you need a roof repair, replacement, happy to help. Hutco Roofing and HutcoRoofing.com. So the MLB Draft Day 2 in the books. It was an eventful weekend for Jay Johnson on top of the draft, and boy, was it eventful for him having the opportunity to go sit on the set for 4.5 hours of MLB Network during their coverage and highlight his players, his recruits, guys he coached against. It was a huge recruiting tool, no doubt, for LSU. But on top of that, Jay Johnson apparently has found an assistant, one of the non-on-field assistant roles, and it's a familiar face to LSU. Jay Johnson is bringing Terry Rooney back to Baton Rouge. Kendall Rogers was the first to have it, that LSU's hiring Terry Rooney as its new director of recruiting and program development. Rooney spent the last 2 seasons as the pitching coach and recruiting coordinator at Purdue. So a little background on Terry Rooney for those that don't remember. Rooney was an assistant with Paul Maneri at Notre Dame back in the early 2000s. From 2004 to 2006. When Paul Maneri left Notre Dame for LSU, he brought Terry Rooney with him in the summer of 2006, so for the 2007 season. Obviously, we all know year 2 was an amazing year where LSU had the great turnaround. They won 23 straight games, went to Omaha in 2008. Then, of course, in 2009, he was promoted to associate head coach. LSU had the number 1 recruiting class in the country, headlined by DJ LeMahieu. And after that season, I should say that season, after the 2008 season, is when Rooney left to become the head coach at UCF, and LSU won the national championship in 2009, which was Rooney's first season at UCF. So you're talking about a guy that has tremendous experience. He's also been at Houston, where he was the pitching coach recently here. As we mentioned, he was at Purdue. So you're talking about a guy that's got great experience, who's been not only in the SEC, who's been at LSU, knows the people, the place, the culture, the recruiting, the lay of the land, was at Central Florida as the head coach at UCF, so was recruited the state of Florida as well. Purdue, there in the Midwest, Houston, recruiting hotbed in Texas. We all know it. So it's an absolute no-brainer. And he's replacing Josh Simpson, who is Jay Johnson's ops director. So you're bringing in a guy who just has tremendous inroads and resources in recruiting. He's not going to be one of the 3 on-field coaches, but LSU's created a staff position here for Terry Rooney. And you get a guy with that guy. This guy's been a D1 head coach, man. I mean, he's been at some amazing places, and he's going to be part of your support staff. So what a huge coup getting Terry Rooney back to Baton Rouge. And we'll look forward to seeing and hearing from Terry when he gets to town, when LSU formally announces it. But Kendall has it, and it's confirmed. I shared some messages with Coach Rooney as well, so I know they're excited. So big get for Jay Johnson, getting Terry Rooney back to Baton Rouge. All right, it's after further review. Okay, we got Otter Locks coming up. I need to go quickly, but are we in agreement on the wager for Ocho Cinco? I win, Ocho has to fly to Baton Rouge and do a show. I lose, we'll do a show at Don Juan. Free remote, all promoting Ocho's cigar brand, 85 cigars.
I like it. I think we're in.
All right. Paulie, we good?
I like it.
All right. So I'm just checking real quick if there's any more on the text line. Ryan Swallow said a 3-hour show for charity. I mean, I don't mind working in a charitable component. Maybe something, if we do the 85 cigar show at Don Juan or something, we work in his charitable component, whatever his charity. Or if he comes and does the show here, I haven't looked to see if he has a foundation or anything. If he does a show here, we'll do something for his charity. So, okay. Someone said I'd have to buy enough cigars equal to Carr's yardage for the year. Like by 5,000 cigars, I'm not doing that. All right, it's after further review. Otter Locks next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, and my favorite quarterback, Derek Carr. Rouse's, as the weekend comes upon us, I know the weekend is just in our rearview mirror, but every weekend, especially with the weather like this, you're enjoying those summer days. You want to get outside and throw something on the grill, have something cold to drink, or some great apps to share with everybody. Rouse's has everything you could possibly want. Remember also, you get to Rouse's. They make it easy for you. Now, we're going to be doing a lot of shopping at Rouse's this week. Drew's birthday party is Saturday, so we're going to need lots of waters and soft drinks and beers and all the food that we're going to cook and serve for everybody. We're going to go to Rouse's. Our Rouse's is the one right there on in Long Farm on Antioch. Find the Rouses nearest you. Go to rouses.com. You can find the location, 60-some-odd Rouses locations across the Gulf South. You can find the Rouses nearest you at rouses.com. Download that Rouses mobile app. They've got delivery and pickup options. Rouses.com. Rouses. This feels like home.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. We appreciate you for being here with us. As always, you can catch anything you missed on demand. AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. So normally we do otter locks. However, because CenturyLink has had a statewide outage, both states-wide outage in both Louisiana and Texas, we have no phones today. So we have no way of getting Jimmy onto the show. He did, however, give us a pick. He likes Vlad in the Home Run Derby. Thoughts? Muse? Thoughts on Vlad in the Derby?
I mean, sure, why not? I imagine there's just way too much juice on Alonso for it to even be worth it. But yeah, I mean, Vlad would be awesome. Me, personally, I'm rooting for Mookie Betts.
I'm trying to look up on the DraftKings app right now what the, or let's see, MLB. Let's see. All right, here we go. Alonso's at plus 330. Vlad's at plus 350.
Alonso, who's the favorite? Alonso's at the favorite?
Alonso's the favorite.
Okay.
At plus 330.
Oh, I'll take Alonso then.
Julio Rodriguez plus 450. Luis Robert plus 500. Garcia's at plus 750, Rosarena plus 1,000, Betts 1,100, and Rutschman plus 1,700.
It'd be pretty cool if Adley Rutschman won it.
Yeah, sure. It just feels safe going with Alonso, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you'd bet against him. I mean, this is kind of his thing.
To the guy who messaged earlier with the crazy parlay, Chandler, I sent that to Ott. We'll talk about it tomorrow. He has a 3-leg parlay of LSU women's basketball, baseball, and football all winning the Natty. $10 to win 10,000. He's got 2 legs. So what does he do? We'll ask Otter when he's with us tomorrow. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, and online at southpointvw.com. And for those of you listening in Southwest Louisiana, they've got Southwest Volkswagen in Lafayette. Look, one of the coolest things about Southwest and South Point Volkswagen, both of them, is that while a lot of different dealerships have struggled to get inventory post-COVID, they haven't had that issue. As a matter of fact, there's more on the way right now. You can go to the website, and there's a banner where it says reserve yours now. It'll take you to the page with the exact vehicles that are on the way to the dealership now, and you can go reserve that car now before it even gets here. So as soon as it gets here, boom, you've got your brand new vehicle. How about that? The Volkswagen Golf GTI 2.0-liter turbo 40th anniversary edition jet black. That is fine. Check it out right now at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.